All right, I received this email some time back, July 15th actually. It's from one of my informants. I don't know who he is, but he sure seems to have a huge I'm not sure who he is. I'm not sure who he is, but he sure seems to have a lot of interest in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and he seems to know a lot. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Just watched your video on the Yahoo hit piece on Kyle and saw you were looking for what discovery Kyle's attorneys are waiting for. I've linked Kyle's first court appearance below, but it's easy enough to find elsewhere. These are a few points I took from it regarding discovery. The 10:15 mark, haven't been given requested discovery regarding Rosenbaum. And by that he means that Kyle's attorneys have not been given the information about Rosenbaum. The discussion centers around medical experts, so you could speculate they want to know if Rosenbaum was on illegal drugs or wasn't on his necessary prescribed medication, and that altered his mental state. Another theory is ballistics. 8 shots were fired in this area and only 4 by Kyle. The last 3 were in Kyle's general direction but didn't hit him. It's unlikely but not impossible that a round hit Rosenbaum when he was already on the ground. Yeah, I find that to be highly unlikely. Around 12:40, still haven't been given a list of prosecutors' witnesses. Binger wants names and full reports of Kyle's expert witnesses, but Richard says he can't provide an expert witness if they don't know what they need an expert for. Richards repeats the fact he hasn't seen the prosecution's witness list at 1750. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and post the full email in the description below, along with the links. Somewhere there's mention of Kyle's attorneys wanting prosecutors' ballistic reports or wanting to bring in their own ballistics experts, but I can't find it for some reason. However, Wisconsin Right Now has an interesting article I've linked below. They found shell casings the Kenosha police hadn't found. And I did read that, and it's an interesting article. I'll go ahead and post a link to it in the description, like all the other links. This was days after the shootings, and the crime scene tape was gone, so the crime scene was contaminated by the time detectives collected the casings. There were 223 shells from the AR-15, but were 6 feet away from where Rosenbaum was shot. Well, okay, I'm making the assumption that the 223s were from the AR-15, but perhaps somebody else had a rifle that fired the same bullet, like another AR-15. I don't know enough about guns to know whether a shell would land 6 feet from where it was fired. Yeah, that's possible. But I do know there were multiple shells on video where Rosenbaum was killed on the night before. These could be the same ones kicked to a different area after the event, but it's impossible to ever know when the crime scene was full of people on the night and evidence wasn't found until days later. Even then, it wasn't found by law enforcement. The same journalist reported on Rosenbaum carrying the chain and searched unsuccessfully for it. As far as I'm aware, it was never found, and it wasn't mentioned anywhere in the criminal complaint. The fire extinguisher Kyle was carrying right until Rosenbaum started chasing him was also moved. It's on video with someone carrying it away slightly after the shootings, but there's no mention of it in the complaint either, and I don't know if anyone ever found it or collected it as evidence. I'd say the chain and the fire extinguisher were pretty vital, as they show what each person was doing moments before the chase. This is an older Kenosha County Eye article from February 4th, but it has Richard saying Binger's withholding Kyle's social media that the prosecutions had since October 29th. I don't know if they have turned it over since, but I think Binger is trying to hold back as much as he can for as long as he can so Kyle's defense doesn't have time to prepare. The whole investigation was tainted. Huber was dragged from where he fell after being shot. His girlfriend carried off the skateboard, weapon he'd beat Kyle with. Gage moved away from the scene, and one of the militia handled his gun, removing the magazine, emptying the chamber. Dominic handled Kyle's gun so he could have accidentally rubbed off any prints from Rosenbaum. Witnesses conferred with each other on the night and after that night before speaking to the police. Dozens of people walked through the sites of these shootings. Can you imagine allowing a busload of people to walk around a crime scene and play with the exhibits before the police investigate it and then saying it's a fair trial? I think you could argue for a case to be thrown out purely on impossibility of validating any of the evidence. Okay, well, I'll let you guys discuss it in the comments below. Very interesting. Whatever happened to the fire extinguisher and the chain has interested me for quite some time. Plus, also the bag that Jojo Rosenbaum threw at Kyle. Has anybody recovered it? Don't know. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.